Hey there everybody. We're turning the corner in the seasons here. This is a nice early fall night. And I thought, you know what? It's just about perfect to have a fire. And to have a fire, what does that mean? Well, you gotta process some wood. But if you're gonna process some wood, what does that mean? It means you get to play with your toys. So what exactly is this blade I have in front of me? You know what it is? I think it might be the blade that actually puts my SE6 on the back burner for good. This is the Boker Plus Vox Rolled. Now this particular knife I've had on my radar screen for a long time. Just with everything I've been doing, I haven't gotten around to actually buying one. I finally got my hands on one of these. And instantaneously, I'm like, yep, this is it. This is the look and the feel and the size and the weight that I'm going for. This is everything I like in a good camp knife. And so today, while I'm processing my fire, I think it's time to get this thing out in the field and give it its first little test. Now, before I get too far into this, let's talk about the blade. Now, what I like about the SE6, and if you guys have been watching me, you know that this has been the blade that's been sort of my go-to for the longest time now. But, you know, I do tend to like blades in the 6-inch range. I like a finger choil, nice, solid, beefy handle. You know, I typically like a flat grind. So this SE6 has been just about perfect. And for the longest time, I've been looking for a blade that stood up to it and give it a run for its money. And, you know, like I said, I've been looking at this Boker knife for a while now, and I finally got my hands on it, and I think this has all the same features and a little bit more, and I'm hoping this is going to do what I need it to and take out that ESEE. Like the SE6, it's in the 6-inch blade class. It has a finger choil, nice comfortable handles, well sculpted, beautifully designed, nice shape, cool pins. When you look at the handle of the SE6, it's a tad bit on the square side. Now, it's been perfectly comfortable for me, but it is a little bit square. Let's compare that against the Boker. That's sexy curvy. Nice little palm swell in the middle of the handle. Excellent ergonomic shape. You'll notice that the butt end of this, it's not quite a pommel, but it is almost like a pommel end. Flares out to give you a good grip if you're choking back on the knife, using it for some chopping. This choil is very deep. I mean, it's great for me. I love the way it feels. I thought at first I wasn't going to like the fact that these handle scales sort of stopped riding high on the blade, but I'll tell you, it fits my hand perfectly. And on top of that, the depth of the blade works very well. And it's slightly deeper, just ever so slightly deeper than the ESEE, but so far it's comfortable for me. The finish on this blade is going to be a little bit hard for you to see, and I've also put a coat of grease on this, but it's a stonewash finish. It's really cool. I mean, it's a nice stonewash finish against these black G10 handle scales with these red liners. It's a great, just beautiful looking knife. Now, there is a more current version of this that has a black traction coating and also more of a green handle scale with the red liner. I think this would be a pretty cool option to have the gray stonewash blade with the green handles. I almost wish they made it that way. I probably would have preferred that a little bit, but the black and red works for me. This blade is made out of D2 steel. Now, I'm a fan of D2. I've had a couple of D2 blades, and I've had some very good luck with it. I know that there's different areas around the world where this is made. I do not believe this is US made D2. I haven't actually looked, to be honest with you. But at the same time, I don't entirely necessarily care. I mean, you know, for me, comfort and style and hopefully durability is important. So as long as this holds up, it'll do what I need it to, and hopefully have a good long service life. And just a final look at the top of the knife, you'll notice that there is some jimping on this. It is certainly not aggressive. It's very you know, it's very wide jimping, and it's not sharp at all, so that doesn't bother me in the least. It's very comfortable in the way that the handle grips. I mean, my fingers grab that thing right where it should when I'm on the choil there, and it feels really good. So I'm excited to start getting a little bit of work done and start processing this fire. Now, the one thing I can tell you is it does not have a sharp spine, not at all, so I wouldn't even attempt necessarily using it to strike a ferro rod. It's not going to work, but at some point I might find that I file this down or put it on my my bench sander and try to get a nice square spot on here so I can strike the ferro rod. But in the meantime, no big deal. Let's get this thing going and see if it's going to be a suitable replacement for my beloved ESEE. Now, I'm not going to do a super ton of work here today. I'm just trying to get a first impression on this thing. And so I'm just going to start by doing a little bit of fine carving here. I mean, right off the get-go, my first impression is just how this feels in my hand is super comfy. I love the way this feels. I love this size of a blade, and I'm definitely comfortable with the edge geometry from the very first second I picked this up. I mean, granted, I'm not getting these curls to sit on this log at all, but at the same time, I am able to get these real tasty little curls here without any effort whatsoever, just letting the blade ride ever so nicely and easily down that. I mean, look at that. That is nice. I mean, I definitely don't get this kind of control on every blade I handle, and so to have a feeling like this right out of the get-go is a great sign. I'm very happy with this. I mean, again, that's just super quick, but just to give you an idea, I mean, I'm definitely able to get some mighty fine little curls on this. It feels great, super comfortable. I like the choil, I love the blade length, the handle feels good, no real hot spots. This is a good start. Part of the reason why I've grown to love the ESEE so much is because I can trust it. I know the durability of the steel. I've put this thing through the paces. You know, I've pounded it through logs. I've pounded it through, tons and tons of batoning tasks. And so I'm going to need to gain trust with this D2 steel on this, Vox rolled before I really can, fully call it a winner to me. But, let's just start with a little batoning here and see how this does splitting wood. I mean, if you look at how wide this is, I mean, a quartered log of this size, I mean, this must have been, I don't know, 4 or 5 inch log anyway, probably a 5 inch log, and now it's quartered up. So if I say I use my axe to quarter up my wood, this is just about perfect to keep getting it just a little bit smaller, ready for a fire. Right away, I mean, that just is good and solid, wax right down inside, is establishing my crack the way I need it. Now I'm a little bit nervous here. I know I'm going to be whacking on this tip, but you know what? That's how you test the knife, and that's how you gain the trust. So let's give it a try. Bam, no problem. So far, so good. Let's keep at it.
This one's a little tougher, and not really, no problem.
Now, a knife this size for me isn't really for heavy-duty chopping, but I do like to try it just in the event that if this is the one tool I have with me and I need to chop something, that I can. So I just kind of want to get a feel of, what it feels like on my hand and just what type of grip there would be, see if there's any chance for this slipping out. But let's just give it a few whacks here and see how it goes. I'm going to choke back a little bit. I think I'm basically going to, keep 3 of my fingers here and really get my pinky kind of right on the end. I mean, right away feels pretty good. But I can tell you this, it definitely feels more secure than the ESEE because you have that swell that kind of keeps your fingers locked in. The ESEE is very square and falls off on the end. You don't really get the benefit. You don't really get the benefit at all of that palm swell area. It's pretty nice. And now just to try a little bit of stabbing, see what it feels like and what kind of slippage I have here right away. Feels pretty good. I mean, for me, when I stab, I tend to put my thumb on the top of the blade, and so, you know, my pinky rests against that sort of finger guard there right before the choil, and then my thumb is on the top of the blade, and that's a little tiny bit pointy, but you know, I don't see me really having a ton of reason to stab a ton or, you know, a whole crazy amount, but yeah, it doesn't bother me too much. I mean, it's a little bit sharp for me, but it doesn't bother me much. Now, one department where this knife significantly lacks is in its sheath. Most people that you see review this comment on how crappy this sheath is. I'm going to be really no different. I mean, you put this thing in there, it barely fits, poor retention at best, super sloppy, kind of sketchy, but I believe this is considered to be a thermoplastic, and I do have a Kydex press that I've made, so I'm going to contemplate heating this up and trying to get this a little more form fit and hopefully get this a little tighter for now. Long term, if I like this knife enough, I firmly believe that it's worth getting a custom Kydex. I'm already looking into it. I have some ideas on who I want to go with, and I think I know what I'm going to do. So this, to me, if it pans out and I like it and it's really good for me and I think I'm going to replace my SE6, I'm going to get myself a nice custom Kydex carry system for this. I mean, there's no doubt at this point I have barely started to use this knife. There's no reason for any damage, and at this point I don't necessarily see any, so it's a good sign so far just with the limited work that I've done. But you know what? It's time for me to enjoy the rest of my night, so I'm going to continue processing some wood from my fire, get this thing going, and hopefully hang out and have myself a vodka drink. All right, so processed down, built with my little nest ready to go. So now all I need is a spark and my drink. All right, guys, so there you have it. The Boker Plus Vox rolled. So far, I'm pretty impressed. I'm going to keep playing with this for the next few months and see if this is the blade that overtakes my dear ESEE. So anyway, thanks for stopping by, guys. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.